Hey Cards Chat, welcome back to another video. Today we're talking all about how to tune out all those distractions while you're playing poker and focus on the game and maybe increase your win rate along the way. Look, we've all been there. It's 12 hours into a tournament day, or you've had 7 or 8 tables going online and now all of a sudden you only have one table. It's easy to get distracted in those moments while playing poker. But one of the worst feelings I would say as a professional is if you're playing live, you look up and there's a showdown and people are all in and you have no idea how they got there and you missed all the action to a really critical pot. That's a really terrible feeling. So to avoid having that moment, my favorite way to stay focused on the game at hand is to pick out the most active player at the table and focus in on their game and their game alone. This helps you pinpoint all kinds of tendencies that they might have, and because they're the most active player at your table, it's the most likely person that's going to be in the hand against you. I like to break down what are their pre-flop tendencies. Do they raise a lot but then give up to 3-bets? Do they c-bet a lot but then they give up on the turn? Both of those things are really easy to exploit. You can start squeezing pre-flop against those players when they're in the hand if they tend to fold. If they c-bet a lot but then they give up on the turn, you can start floating those guys in position and then stabbing river once they've checked it down. These are two very simple examples, but if you were tuning out and you didn't pick up that information because you were distracted with something else, you're going to be playing worse off against them and you're not going to be able to fine-tune your game against this specific opponent. Remember, just because you saw someone play a hand that you don't think they played very well doesn't mean that you're automatically making money off of them. You have to be an active participant in increasing your win rate. And you do that by picking out all of these little details in their game and then really putting on the pressure. I like to call them their pain points. I try to find my opponent's pain points and then really lean into those spots in their game where I think they have some blind spots perhaps. Another thing that's really good to pick up on or to focus on is their bet sizing. A lot of people have bet sizing tells. They bet massive on draw heavy boards when they have a really good hand because they're trying to protect their hand. And then on the same draw heavy type of board, when they don't have it, they just bet small because they're trying to c-bet and take it down. Pay attention to those little moments and you will win a lot more against these aggressive opponents. If you have just moved to a new table, you don't know who the most active person is, and you're already feeling tired at the end of a tournament day or at the end of a long online session, just focus on the players that are directly to your right. Most of your money that you're going to win in poker is from the opponents directly to your right because you have position on them. Same thing, focus on all of those strategy choices that they're making so that when all those times when you're folding, you are still focused on the game and you are still coming up with a battle plan for when you're back in action. Some other more practical tips, I would bring headphones along. Obviously, some people enjoy having music while they play poker, other people don't, but I find that there's usually a 1 or 2 hour stretch at least during a long tournament day where I could benefit for some upbeat, uplifting music to get me through those down times in the session. I also like to listen to movie soundtracks. I know that sounds really strange, but especially if the table chatter has really died down, everybody's tired and they want to go home, listening to some dramatic movie soundtrack music makes me focus a little more intensely on the game as if it's, you know, the most important action of the day on the movie screen. That just might be me. But anyway, other than that, I would also eat a light dinner so that you're not feeling lethargic after dinner break. And make sure you get your body moving, whether it's in that 5-minute online session break or you have an extended break in a live setting. Moving around, do a couple jumping jacks, do a couple squats, something to get the blood flowing back up to the brain where you need it most while you're playing poker. And this may sound obvious, but pay special attention to hands that get to showdown. When people's cards are flipped over, that's the only time you get concrete proof of how someone is playing. You can guess the range of hands that somebody is opening with just based on how often they're opening, but in a live game in 30 minutes, somebody might have just gotten good cards for 30 minutes straight. So until you see their cards flipped over, that's the point where you actually have proof of how they've been playing. You can reverse engineer the hand and see what kind of strategy they're using. Also, this is a good time to mention that if you're new-ish to poker and you play a lot live, never show your cards. Never show your opponents, especially in a tournament setting where it's more competitive. Never show your cards. You're either confirming what your opponents thought of you already, or you're completely shift their view of how you play. Don't let your ego get in the way. If you bluffed, just muck it because you want to keep getting those bluffs through. And if you had a really, really strong hand, still don't show it just to be like, oh, I had it, don't worry, because somebody who's really sharp at the table and is paying attention will notice all of your bet sizes on the different streets, and they'll know a little bit better info about you than you know about them. So you want to keep all that stuff to yourself. Keep the cards close to the chest, or however they say it, and don't give away all your secrets by showing your cards. I wanted to say a quick shout out to Cards Chat member M. Zadi, who made this thread called "What is your own bad habit at poker?" That was the whole idea behind making this video. There's a bunch of people who responded that getting distracted is their worst habit at poker. So I'm curious, comment down below what your worst habit is at the poker table, and maybe I will address it in a future video. Till then, you guys, I'll see you next time. Good luck at the tables.